These are the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. You may experience enjoyment walking through these doors. It's hard to say, really, but at some point, you'll want to talk back, and they'll expect it because their opinions are unworthy of most of humanity. They're not real lawyers. They're not. Stop thinking that they are. If you really want to get in touch with them, you can email them at qsblawoffices@gmail.com or find them on Twitter at qsblawoffices. Walk through the door right now, though. Pay that retainer. You won't get your money's worth. Welcome back to the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this September 23rd, 2020. If you want to reach the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker, please email us at qsblawoffices@gmail.com or head to Twitter at qsblawoffices. Now, we have come across a new client today. Our client is habits of infernal origin. Essentially, what that means is those bad habits we have that come from a dark place. You know, it could be anything, is like the monkey on a person's back, like maybe just doing too much heroin, or like what Greg's doing right now, which is smoking those coffin nails that are
And
so
drinking.
popular, and drinking. So two of those are going on. But would you consider those to be bad habits, Greg? Do you think that's smoking and drinking is actually bad, or is it just got a bad rap?
Smoking definitely is, without a
Yeah.
question. I think alcohol is necessary for day-to-day functions, sanity. I think we'd all go a little crazy if we didn't have that little escape valve in a can or bottle.
So are you suggesting that I am crazy, Greg?
No, you're temporarily insane, but you have a drink every now and then. You've just been a teetotaler for the past couple of months. There's a shutdown.
Since March, I've had one shot of tequila.
Yeah.
And that's it for any form of alcohol that's got. Whoa, wait, that's not quite true. I think when I was in Wyoming, and I was at the restaurant at the resort I was in Wyoming, the ski resort where there was no skiing happening because there was no snow. I think I had an alcoholic beverage there. So maybe two drinks I've had since March. But
Did it feel like heaven to you? Was it like, oh, this is good?
no, it was
Oh,
kind of like
sweet bliss.
I'm with my kids. I can't get drunk.
Yeah.
So I had the one, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, I'm not like a huge fan of alcohol in and of itself. You know, for me, it's usually there's a point to it when I'm trying to achieve. That's why it never became a habit for me.
Yeah. But cigarettes are all bad. I mean, I barely even get pleasure from these things anymore. I literally don't. It's just a sick habit.
So when you got
And
pleasure from them, what pleasure did you get from cigarettes?
oh, it just felt great smoking them. It was just, I don't know what it was. It was nice just to. I used to smoke clove cigarettes a lot, and they were sweet, and every inhale was pleasurable. In the past 5 years, it's just I'm usually just like I can't wait till the cigarette's done,
Whatever,
so I
I
could
always thought they
light
should have
another
made
one.
clover cigarettes. Since they had clove, they should just like one step away, just add the R, and you'd have a whole different kind of cigarette. Just,
Sure,
and it would just be
wheatgrass cigarettes,
specifically for Irish people.
shamrock
I'm okay.
cigarettes.
I don't like where this is heading.
I don't even know where this is heading, Brendan. Where do you
Yeah,
see this heading?
Well, I mean, well, first of all, I would agree with Greg that cigarettes are definitely a bad habit. They're a horrible habit. I'm working on kicking. I've kicked it before, and then it came back. You know, I have friends, and I want to punch them right in the face. I have these friends
Great
that,
friends.
yeah, no, they're fantastic. I love them to death, but I want to punch them in the face because Greg can understand because he probably has similar friends. You'll go out somewhere and you'll have a couple of drinks, and this asshole can just like smoke a couple of cigarettes, and that's it. He's done.
oh, I hate those guys.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I didn't smoke cigarettes for 11 years. Then I was doing like some construction work, and all the guys were smoking, and I wasn't, and they're all standing around on break smoking cigarettes, and I'm like, give me one of those. Boom, right back. Next day I bought a pack.
Oh
Boom, right
wow!
in.
But that
Yeah,
first
yeah.
cigarette must have tasted like crap, though. It must have tasted just
no,
like an ashtray.
no,
No?
no.
It
I
tasted
went,
like heaven.
I was like, oh, right. I mean, maybe the first couple of drags, I was like, oh, God. But then, like, by the third or fourth, I was like, all right. I remember this. This is after 11 years of not smoking. So,
No.
Wow.
So at that stage, you decide to pick up this bad habit again, right? So, and it wasn't peer pressure. It was just you going, did you want to just fit in with the boys or something? Or you were having this nostalgic moment towards cigarettes where you were like, want to try that again? Because I used to smoke, and I smoked for like 20 years. And I quit about 11 years ago, 12 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was able to kind of eliminate the urges for having cigarettes, so I can be around people who smoke all the time, and I just don't have that desire to grab it. But it's because I did a little mental shift in my head where I just decided that I was a non-smoker, like I just don't smoke. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like I don't shoot heroin, I don't take PCP, I don't do crystal meth, and I don't smoke either. That made it kind of an easier mindset to kick that sucker. But I was just curious, like you went and bought a pack the next day. After
Yeah, I mean,
11
I don't
years
know.
of
Maybe
not.
I'm exaggerating. Was it the next day? But it was
Well,
certainly
either way.
it was certainly within the week. Was I trying to fit in? Nah. It was just I was just standing there, and I felt like fuck. But really, the main thing was that I thought I could do that because of those friends that I want to punch in the face. I thought I'll have a cigarette. I have not smoked for 11 years. I'll have a cigarette with these guys, and kind of be part of the scene and whatever, and it'll be fine.
That reminds me of a guy I knew who he was in his 40s, and he had led basically a clean life, had done drugs and stuff at certain points in life, but had stopped doing it. But he said at the age of 40, he wanted to start trying crystal meth because he figured he could do a couple of times and then he would be fine. And turns out it didn't work out that way for him. He wound up seriously addicted and losing pretty much everything in his life, and basically
That's a shocker.
He was able to finally get it turned around with help, from like a rehab area. But yeah, it's interesting when people go, I think I could do that, and I'll be okay, and it makes you.
Yeah, in Tucson, I knew a guy in a punk rock band. I played music with him, and he saw all of our friends get, like, some of them die from heroin. So he hated heroin all through his 20s. And in his 30s, he just started saying, well, I know how dangerous it is. I just want to try it once. I hear it's really great. I won't get hooked because I know how bad it can be. And within a month, he was stealing people's TV sets and shit. It was so fucking pathetic. We listened to him talk about this intellectually, and we were like, I don't know, Johnson. It's like a good idea. And then he was basically a degenerate drug addict for like 5-6 years. Then he cleaned himself up. But he really fell fast and hard.
At what point did it become degenerate, though? I mean,
Well,
so you have drug addict, then you have degenerate drug addict.
Yeah, when you can't even control it, you're robbing people and for your habit.
So that would be an infernal habit, I guess, is just the major monkeys.
Yeah.
And then you have ones that maybe aren't quite so infernal.
Like biting your nails?
That could be bad because you could bite through your fingers, I guess, at some point.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
People just keep going. They're just going to gnaw down to the wrist.
I mean, there are just certain habits that are kind of socially unacceptable. I think chewing your nails in front of people is one,
spitting
in my opinion.
I think spitting around people used to be unacceptable, but it's become a little more acceptable. Also, profanity used to be a lot less acceptable, and these days it's pretty much.
Well, that's just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
but it's like at grocery stores. It's the G-rated movies. Parents will be doing it around other kids, and you go, at what point did that start being okay?
I think as people realize.
Well, I was just wondering, when do we get desensitized?
I just think people realize that it's not a bad thing. Who cares if somebody says fuck? It doesn't hurt anyone. It's not an evil thing to do to curse. Sometimes it adds to the language.
Currently, yes, but way back when, you wanted to protect the fairer people from dirty language. It wasn't
people with vaginas. You're talking about.
What are we protecting them from exactly?
Yeah, there's nothing to protect
I think it was
them
like
from.
the meaning of those words. What was the intent behind them? I think that's what was the issue back in the day.
Like shit.
Yes.
Versus poop.
Right.
They're both the same thing.
Right, but for some reason, one is more offensive than others. Right?
I know.
Yeah, for some dumb reason. I know a friend who's grew up Mormon, and she still has relatives, grown adults, who they'll actually yell out swear word instead of a curse. But it's like that's a curse for you, though. You are cursing, because fuck is a nonsense word. It really doesn't. It's just some word. So if you're yelling out
Well,
swear
it's not
word,
some word. Fuck means to have sex.
I know,
Yeah.
but it's just it's really, if you didn't know that, it's just a syllable. Fuck.
Well, that's like any word, Greg. If you don't know what it means, you don't
I
know
know,
what
but
it means.
swear
It's going to be
word.
like
fuck.
grunting.
Wait a minute. Fuck, as per George Carlin, has a lot more meanings that I think you're aware of what I'm talking about than just
Yeah.
sex. It's an
Well,
adjective.
Fucking
initially it was that way. That's how it started.
Right.
But certainly it has changed. It has gone and evolved into a wide variety of things. If anybody's interested, they can go look up George Carlin, and there's a lot of routines that he does things about words.
Yeah, it's a great word. It's a multi-purpose
It's
tool.
It's one of the most flexible words in the English language.
Yeah.
I think it's not celebrated as much as it should be.
Well, it depends upon, if you want to get sparklers and let off some fireworks for it.
I think children
possibly
should learn.
Celebrate it appropriately.
Children should learn all the various iterations of fucking school and grammar because there's so many.
I think they do.
Well, from the teachers to use it properly with proper grammar.
If the teachers know how to use them properly. Well, of course,
As
they
an
must use it all the
adverb.
time because they have to deal with the children.
Yes.
They
Or they just say swear word.
Well, no, it's like the term, the F word has become a swear word,
Yeah.
right? The
Mhm.
N word has become a swear word,
Yeah.
But that's one you can't really get away with saying if you're a decent human being anymore because of how that invalidates the existence of certain classes.
Yeah, it's hateful. Saying fuck
Yeah.
isn't hateful to anyone. Unless you're saying fuck you.
Unless you're
That's-
saying it to like people who are celibate.
Not me.
Yeah, not to be controversial, but let's just examine this for just a
Let's get
second.
controversial.
Why is the N word so heinous when it's dropped on the regular by people of color? If it's so heinous, why do they say it?
Because that's their way of taking back the word and eliminating the meaning of it for them, so that this is my theory, so that when some actual racist simpleton white supremacist type uses it in a hateful way, they can just laugh at them as opposed to feeling like they're about to be lynched or pulled behind a truck or whatever the hell those morons
But you notice that
do.
gays have done it differently. Gays have taken back the word, and it's okay to say queer nation, or like, as a heterosexual, I can write an article about the queer nation or the queer peoples of
I think it also
America.
works like if you're part of
They've
that
diffused
ethnic
it.
group or that religious group or that marginalized group, then it's more okay for you to use it. Now, there used to be this show on YouTube called Retarded Policeman, which was essentially a guy who had Down syndrome who would dress as a policeman, and he would have various different adventures. And his reason for doing that was to take back the word retarded so that it wasn't being used as an invective towards people who have that syndrome, right?
Mhm.
So it's kind of interesting,
So
how
he-
language changes. What's that?
He impersonated a police officer to take back the word retard?
Well, it was fictional.
That sounds retarded.
It was fictional.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it wasn't done like in real life circumstances. He wasn't going up and actually arresting. But that was, in my opinion, watching it, it seemed exploitative, because if you're talking a person who's got Down syndrome into going ahead with something like this, it kind of seems like you're taking advantage of them for entertainment purposes.
Mhm.
But the
Well,
guy
I'd say.
seemed intelligent enough in the depths of his Down syndrome to be able to discuss it with people who did bring that up during the course of those episodes. There were webisodes, they went around for a number of years. Anyway, the only point I'm making is just that, language does definitely change. And because of, I think, the constant use of saying fuck on television and getting it bleeped out, people have gotten desensitized to it, so it loses a lot of the meaning. But then other words have taken on more meaning and have become more offensive. Like sometimes if you call a person who was formerly in prison a bitch, or call them a bitch while they're in prison, them's fighting words, and you could actually get stabbed for saying something like that to somebody, right?
Well, I mean, I haven't served any considerable amount of time, and I wouldn't want somebody to call me a bitch.
Right, but if I said bitch to you, it really wouldn't mean that much, right? But in prison, it's a lot more vehement. There's a lot more vitriol behind it whenever you're accusing somebody of being a bitch in prison. And the only reason I say this is I've watched a number of those 60 Days Later shows. where I get a little bit educated. Are you not familiar with those particular programs?
No,
No.
60 Days Later must be on cable television.
Yeah, I think it's like on A&E, but I was watching it on Hulu, and essentially the premise behind that show is they send like 7 or 8 people in undercover, normal, everyday citizens, to go undercover into prisons, not jails, but they go into jails, not prisons, sorry, and to find out like where drugs are coming in and what are the treatment of the prisoners is like, and it's usually set up by the sheriff of that particular county because
So
they
these
want
are
to change something.
these are county lockups. These aren't
Yeah,
state penitentiaries.
yeah, these are county
Oh, those
lockups.
guys are all pussies. Come on, county
Uh,
lockup.
well, you'd be surprised how long some of the people stay in those county lockups. They can be there for years in those county
Really?
lockups. Yeah, and it can be worse than the federal pens or the state pens because of the very low amount of budgets that go into taking care of the people in those. So the conditions tend to be very overcrowded, and there's like often insane people in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Well,
get as bad as having like serial killers on the block with you, but so there is, I think, a little more sanity at the county level than more, but still, drugs get in quite easily, and you also get to see the situations with how the guards treat the prisoners as well. So anyway, the point I'm making is just getting back to the word bitch. That word in that particular circumstance holds a lot of weight. I remember one time I was talking to some guy who was homeless and he was just being a jerk. I said, why are you acting like a dick? And he took that completely offended, and
yeah.
I didn't realize it was going to create that much drama within that particular conversation. And so I was
Yeah.
apologizing for it because, sometimes you just don't know the effect that words are going to have on people.
Especially crazy homeless people. You never know what's going to set those fuckers off.
Well, that's right. Greg, do you have something you want to say about that? Greg, do you have a comment regarding homeless people? Oh, it's impossible for you to comment because you're muted. So you're talking, we see your lips moving,
Sorry,
but no
guys.
words are
I
coming
hit the
out.
button on accident.
No, you didn't do it on accident. That's
I
why I
did.
said it to you.
I did do it on accident.
Because he's busy conducting his infernal habit of smoking.
I
So
know,
he's
but
trying to prevent the breathing into the microphone, people.
I think
Anyway,
any curse word, even if it's just like you stinker or something, if
mm,
that's a curse, if you say it with a tone, people aren't gonna like it.
okay.
So if you say you're a jerk is a very strong. But if somebody says to me, "You're a jerk," I'd be like, that doesn't feel nice. To be called a jerk.
So what you're saying now, though, is that words do have a meaning to you, whereas
They
before
do.
you were saying that they didn't really like the word
No,
fuck.
when you use them badly. Like if I say you're a fucker, that's not nice
Okay.
to hear. But you can say fuck all you want. Hey, it's fucking great. What a fucking
Okay.
great party. That doesn't hurt anyone's feelings. That's a sign of joy, celebration.
Okay. So it's then the intent comes down to.
Yeah.
All right. So is that a good or a bad habit, though? Because some people may not recognize the intent. They just know the
Well, if I
bad
say
word.
it's a fucking great party, that's their problem. If they get offended at me saying a totally nice thing like that was such a thank you for your fucking great time.
Oh, it's their problem, is it, Greg?
Yeah, it's stupid to not
So you
like a
just don't
word.
care. So it's
I
their
do
problem. So
care.
if somebody doesn't wear a mask, and they're around you, it's your problem, not theirs, because they're not wearing a
No.
mask, right?
Well, yeah,
Because you're
they're
offended by the
stupid.
fact that, well, still,
If somebody is offending you, then it is kind of your problem.
well, of
But what
course,
if
I
but
mean,
but at the same time,
you can
it's in,
choose not to be offended.
it's incumbent, of course, about anything, right?
Sure.
It's incumbent upon the person who is saying the offensive thing to recognize that they're offending somebody else, right? And to gauge whether or not it's worth not offending them
Is that is
by
that
saying
pre or
anything.
post? Is that pre or post statement?
Pre or
Are
what?
they supposed? Are they supposed to? Is the righteous person or the whatever the person who's doing the right thing supposed to filter before he speaks, or then speak and then realize this person has a problem with it and I should take responsibility for it? Like your example of talking to the homeless person, calling him a dick. You called him a dick, and he took offense to it.
Right.
But you didn't think to yourself ahead of time, maybe I shouldn't call this dick a dick. You
Yeah.
just called him a dick. And then
Yeah,
you went,
well, perhaps I should have. Let's put it this way. Let's say the President of the United States, and I wouldn't put it past him, decided to just lace his next speech filled with profanity and invective, but done without intentionally targeting any particular group of people.
What would that seem like? Suddenly he's like, I want to welcome everyone to the fucking State of the Union, and
We're gonna have a fucking great time tonight. I'm gonna tell you how great the fucking economy's been doing.
the economy's been fucking great. We got fucking jobs for all the fuckers out there. I think that could potentially cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, but it's sad that would cause problems, not like constantly lying and undermining the Bill of Rights every day. That's okay. But if he says fuck a few times,
That's a different issue.
But the question is, are we talking about the current president or some imagined president?
Any president, really. I mean,
come on, guys. If Barack Obama had come out and said, "Look here, motherfuckers, we're kicking ass," there would have been a whole bunch of people that would have been like standing. Oh,
I don't know about
that. Oh, absolutely.
Fox News would have lost their shit.
Oh, I'm sure Fox News would have lost their shit.
Well, yeah, and all of the hypocritical evangelists would have lost it as well.
Yeah,
sure.
I would have loved it, though. I would have been like,
but I would have loved it. You guys would have thought it was funny or entertaining or whatever.
Yeah. I would have thought it inappropriate, personally. I would have said that. I would have thought very much
depends. It depends. Okay, so let's we're gonna drill down on this. So if he's at a state dinner with heads of state and he gets up and he starts laying the fucking F-bombs, yeah, that's super inappropriate. If he's at a press conference and somebody yells some shit at him and he says he drops an F-bomb, really? Are you offended?
Well, I'm not personally offended, but I think in terms of decorum, there's something to be said about decorum, I think. And I think that if you're able to, in moments like that, take the high road, I think there's something to be gained by that.
I don't
think you have to get down in the dirt with everybody.
I don't think that has to happen. Yeah. But I think decorum is overrated.
Maybe. But what would we know, right?
I don't know.
We don't have any decorum.
I'm the least decorum person I know.
So it's easy for us to say. You know,
absolutely.
We have no class.
Right.
So, we're like a school at nighttime.
Sure, we're basically all of the, I can't even think of an analogy at the moment, but we're just monkeys. Let's just put it that way. We're monkeys.
I'm going to try to be more decorumish for the future.
Really? I don't know.
That's going to be my little project.
You're going to
self-help.
You're going to listen to yourself talk before the words come out of your mouth?
Yeah. No, I'm just not going to talk. I think that would be the best thing. Just don't talk.
You just stay mute.
Sit there and shut up, and you won't offend anyone.
So if you're working at Burgerville, do you often say, "Did you like your fucking burger?" to people whenever they?
Well, I don't have to talk to customers, but I say fuck plenty. When I get hot oil on my hands, I'm just fuck. Ow.
That'll do it. You also sound a little bit like a crow when you do that. Oil on the wing.
So
oil on the wing.
I wanted to defend one bad habit. I think picking your nose is necessary sometimes, and it's considered such a faux pas. You know, try to do it when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta get that booger out of there. It's making it hard to breathe. Unpleasant.
No.
I gotta get it.
No, nose picking is fine. Farting is fine. It's just where you do it.
Yeah, farting is something you really can't control. You can control nose picking though.
Yeah.
You can. I don't know. Maybe I have some sort of superpower I didn't realize. It's not that the ones with something will slip, but I kind of know when I'm going to fart, and I can go if I'm in a room with people. I can move somewhere else.
I remember my mother telling me that my dad would never farted in public, and I thought about it, and I went, I don't think I ever heard him do that. Then I look back at my own history, and I'm like, I am not my father.
Yeah, I can tell you, I can count on maybe two hands in recent history that I actually absolutely accidentally farted in a public place.
My dad would fart in front of us, not in a public place, but like we were in the car, we always knew he farted because it rolled down the windows, even though it was 20 below. It rolled down the window. I was like, oh, Dad, that went out.
No, my dad never did anything like that. Never blamed anything on the dog. My dad was a pretty hardcore straight arrow type, and a military everything controlled type of individual. So I think that's probably why. Yeah, well, he's now retired, living near you, actually, Brendan.
Where?
Oh, I can't even remember the town, but
he's right outside your door.
Right now. That's right, with him blind in one eye. I think it's somewhere north of you in the Tampa Bay area, though. I just can't.
Brooksville?
Remember. Nah, I don't remember the name of the town.
Spring Hill?
Nope.
Freak Town?
Port Richey?
No, not even Newport Richey. Neither one.
All right.
It wasn't in either of those.
Gimpville?
Hey.
What are you saying about my dad, Greg?
No, I'm talking about the freak towns around Florida. We're the
All right,
first, so
that's
we're
a
retired.
different episode.
Yeah.
All right, so picking your nose, Greg. So do you do it around other people a lot?
No, I try to hide it, but I
Do you
mean,
ever
sometimes
like show them the thing that you conquered, the golden
no,
nugget that you were
I
like
do.
working
I
at so
don't do that.
hard to get
When you
out?
were, my brothers used to have friends who would like be like so proud of their shits and be like, "You got to see the shit I just took. Come to the bathroom." They wanted people to see
Did it look like
how huge
Jesus
it
or something?
was.
What is?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it was a unicorn-shaped poop. Or no, I think it was just because of the size. They were so proud of their humongous donkey shit.
Wow,
They had
that's
to
weird.
show it
That's a
off.
weird fetish.
That is
Yeah.
so. That's a very bad habit. Just that, not
Yeah,
even
that is
doing the
definitely bad.
shit, but like requiring people to come and look at it
Exactly.
and admire it and go,
With
"Well, you
pride.
obviously held that in there for a couple of days, and you did a great job of acting like a cow in a pasture." Yeah, and that's another thing. Cows in pastures. It's not. When I was a kid, I lived in Pennsylvania, and we were near in farm territory. And we would go play baseball in pastures, and you would find sometimes you need to be careful where you stepped because your leg
Yes.
could go in it. And
Right.
The whole leg? They were that big?
not the whole leg, but because we were kids, it could get up halfway up the shin.
I knew that when I worked at a cafe in the 80s in Tucson, there was this guy who used to come and we called him Zog because he looked like a caveman. He had a very low brow. And
Is
he's just
Zog a normal name for cavemen?
it sounds like a caveman name to me. And he'd grunt basically. And this guy was really into roughage. So he'd always eat like the whole melon rind, the honeydew. He wanted to eat the rind.
He ate the rind.
Yeah, because he was really into being, a good digestion. And he would take these dinosaur-sized shits in our bathroom and clog the toilet like once a week. And it'd always come out. He wouldn't brag about it. He would just say, "Your bathroom's broken," as if he didn't have anything to do with it. And it's like, yeah, because you keep taking these fucking dinosaur shits in our toilet.
You're
They were
eating
huge.
cantaloupe rind.
They were huge.
Watermelon rind.
They were seriously like the size of a horse. A horse. They were humongous.
Like an actual horse, not the turd, the horse
Yeah,
itself.
a pony at least. They were so
The
fucking big.
man
and they would
shit
clog
the
our toilets.
pony.
Yes.
Wow.
I guess that's not a bad habit, though.
I think that bad habit there is
function.
eating the rind, because does that have any nutritional value at all?
I think it's roughage, so I guess it was part of his diet. Like,
Well,
it's
that's kind of
good
like
to-
saying eating tree bark is roughage. I don't know that it's necessarily good for you.
Could be, yeah. Maybe it's bad for you. It's good to have
I
good.
think the bad habit here is taking immense dumps in public places.
that could
That's
be,
an
yeah.
incredibly
How did you
bad
do that?
habit. I
That's
think
a terrible thing.
That's the only thing that's good for is handling roaches. Roach control in a particular environment. Just
I mean,
kills
I
them
know
all
I
off.
go completely out of my way to not shit in public.
Oh, yeah, I hate doing it in public.
Do you guys think that public urination? So, what do you guys think about public urination? Do you consider that a bad habit?
Yes, Greg.
Really?
You mean if you're
It's
just doing it in the
necessary.
middle of a restaurant? What are you talking about?
No, like you're walking home late at night and you gotta pee, and I don't want to pee my pants. It's like, and pee is astringent. It's not like taking a shit, which can spread disease. So it's not going to hurt anyone. And it's like, but it's considered so bad. Like,
Well, the
it's against
smell
the law.
of it can be horrible, though. I mean, why
Yeah.
would you do that in public and ruin other people's smells?
That doesn't really, in my opinion, fall in the category of habit.
Well, I think
If
for
you-
some people it might be.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you habitually pee in public, then you've got a problem.
Oh, I did.
If you're walking home and you got to pee, and otherwise it's a problem, and so you go into the bushes and you pee, whatever, no fault, no harm. But if you're
Sometimes
I was gonna say, if you're just actively like seeking out places to go publicly urinate,
I wasn't actively. I used to walk dogs 6 days a week, and they were like 2-hour walks, and I'd have to pee. I have a small bladder, so I was always peeing in public, at least every day.
Did you pee with the dogs? You use the same fire hydrant with them?
No, they never. We were never on the same cycle, unfortunately.
Well, they probably peed a lot more often than you. But I
Yeah.
would think the one time you would want to go, you would like talk to the dog and go, "Hey, where's your favorite spot? I'm gonna go there with you,
Yeah,
just
and
to
he
show
didn't say
camaraderie with the dog."
yeah, I'd be trying to. I'm like, look how high I could pee, dog.
I don't have to lift my leg. But, sometimes, Greg, I wonder, you bring up things on the podcast, and I think the podcast is used by you to learn social niceties sometimes. You're trying to find justifications for bad behavior.
I need
But,
to know
let
these
me,
things.
let me find out if it's okay to pee in public a lot.
Remember when we were talking about like what it's like being alone? It's like you lose track of social mores and what's normal. So you guys are my go-to for like, okay, guys, am I drifting too far from the norm?
Well, I'm assuming there's a point in your life where you did generally know what the right thing was to do, and you're saying you drifted away from that. Is that
Some
what
of
you're
them I
talking-
rejected. I just said I'm not going to pee in my pants and be all uncomfortable for an hour walk home. I'm going to pee.
Well,
I'm not gonna be
why
all-
did you? Why not just pee in your pants and be uncomfortable on the walk home? What's wrong with that, Greg?
That's
You have nice
horrible.
damp
That's
pants.
uncomfortable. Yeah, especially when it's cold. Well, it does warm you, I guess.
So then the question becomes: is it okay to pee my pants in public on a regular basis?
Yeah, that's a pretty bad habit too, right
You
there.
know,
right?
if I had to pick my next door neighbor and he peed in the bushes down the street, or he just came home every day with his wet pants, I probably want him to pee in the bush.
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy. His laundry bill.
Him and his pee pants, his
Yeah.
little dirty pee pants, walking
That just
around.
seems like, come on, man.
Now, shitting,
well,
shitting in public's a whole different issue because that's, like I don't even like when people don't pick up their dog poop. That really angers me when I almost
Yeah.
step in dog shit.
Oh.
So a human would do the same. I'd be just as angry at a human shit.
Okay, so you're okay with them peeing in public, just not
Yeah,
in
it just
public,
disappears. It goes into the grass.
except for the smell and the death of the grass.
No, I heard it's good for grass.
Death of the grass.
Pee is good for vegetation.
Apparently, Greg is pissing hydrochloric acid and just killing grass and natural wildlife with his urine.
That's because Greg comes from another planet, and
No,
his
it's 'cause
blood
it's like
was
half
replaced with
bourbon.
hydrochloric acid. He's a walking acid bag. All right, let's try a different bad habit then. What do you think about people who eat with their mouth open? Like,
Oh, I
chew
do that a lot.
mouth
Shit.
open? You doing
I'm
that
gonna be
right
quiet
now?
about this.
Um,
Some people consider it a bad habit, because it's
I mean, I don't know. It's a degree thing. I mean, I don't think I would be overly offended if somebody did that.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it was just like there was a guy I worked with, and he would make these giant plates of God knows what, and he did that. He ate with his mouth open. The biggest problem wasn't necessarily anything other than the ambient sound, and that I was in the office. So I'm like
That's
on the phone
somebody
with a
clicking a
customer.
pen.
Yeah, I'm on the phone with a customer trying to talk loud as this guy's like,
Oh my lord!
Is that
Like a
the noise?
T-Rex?
That was the noise he made. So it wasn't even just the chewing part; it was the initial biting part was bad too.
Yeah, he just made a lot of fucking noise. I mean, if you wanted to, fine, but did you have to like accentuate the noise? I even brought it up to him, like, dude, is it really necessary to make that amount of noise while you're eating? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you make a lot of noise. Like,
I don't
I've
make a
had
lot of-
customers go, what's that noise? Literally.
It's a dinosaur. Got a dinosaur in my office.
I don't make a lot of noise, but I do with my mouth open, and people have remarked I don't know how unsavory it is. And I gotta say though, it's so much more pleasurable to eat that way. When I try to eat with my mouth closed, it's not as pleasurable. The
Wait
chewing.
a second. What's the difference between having your mouth open or closed, other than making smacking noises?
I don't know. I don't think I make that. I'm not that loud, but you can see my mouth open and see food in there.
The food
It's
bits
not
spitting
pleasant,
out.
apparently. Yeah, people don't like it, apparently. But I really try, and it just makes eating not as fun or something. I don't know. Not as good an experience.
Does that explain the many times you've spit in my face by accident when you?
That's a
talk?
different thing. I don't want to spit. That doesn't make talking to you more pleasurable. to
Like
spit in your
overactive
face.
salivary glands, and suddenly I get hit in the eye by Greg.
I am known for that. I'm pretty bad.
I had a friend
are
in
you-
college.
I was going to say, are you a frequent gleeker?
What's gleeking?
Gleeking is when, for whatever reason, usually sometimes if you're going to eat something or something sour or you're eating something spicy, this stream of saliva just sort of pops out of your mouth. That's called gleeking.
He doesn't have a stream. It's just like
Yeah.
little spittle.
Random spittles.
See, I thought a gleek was the thing that was basically like passing a kidney stone. Was the thing that passed through your urethra as a gleek. That's what I thought a gleek was.
No, it's what you're talking about. It's that spittle that just sort of happens when somebody's talking.
It's also a caveman name, too.
Gleek and
Zog and
Zog.
Gleek.
That was the original Odd Couple, Gleek and Zog. One of
Gleek
them
and
cleaned
Zog.
up the cave. The other one just made a mess in the cave. Kept leaving like animal droppings throughout the cave, and the other one was like, "What are you doing? You got to clean this up." And he went out.
And then hijinks would ensue in the
He's had a
Pleistocene
lot
age.
of hijinks through Zog and Gleek's odd couple
Gleek was
cave,
really upset
cave
about
living.
Zog. Yeah, Zog's giant shits really pissed Gleek off.
Because he was eating all the watermelon rind as well as the rind around the saber-toothed tiger. So what I was saying before was that a friend in college used to eat with his mouth open, and he would be kind of loud, like that noise. So the way I found to address that was, instead of saying something to him directly, I just started making that sound louder. So he was like making that sound, so I started going.
When he goes low, you go lower. That was your motto.
Well, I like people to recognize that they are recognized as well.
Yeah.
That what they are doing has been seen, has been noticed, and perhaps you can make a judgment about it, or you can let me keep making fun of you. Your choice.
Yeah, I
don't mind me making fun of you. I'll just keep doing it because I enjoy it. But that's just me.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't think I've had a lot of people in my life that were open mouth eaters.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them, but they're out there here and there.
Yeah, other than this one guy at the office, and it was mostly just the goddamn noise.
All right,
What would you guys say is your worst habit?
My worst habit is probably procrastination. Just putting things off and putting things off and putting things off.
Oh, that's an easy out. Procrastination. Come on. You've got a dirty habit that you don't want to talk about.
Well, I do have a picture of you that I sit on a lot, but I didn't want to talk about that one.
Well,
that's not a habit.
Since you made me bring that one up.
That's beyond a habit.
Well, no, I mean, procrastination is the one main thing that bothers me the most, and I think has messed up my life the most, really, is because so many things just don't get done when they need to get done, and not doing things when I should do them, and
I get it.
Many things that are incomplete, and they pile on and pile on. It's just
I get it. But what I'm saying is, we're talking about farting in public, open mouth chewing, booger picking, smoking to a certain extent. You're talking about something that's more or less mostly internal. I wouldn't know that if you and I
habit.
Yeah, but I'm talking about habits that other people would notice that you would go.
He wants something gross. That's what he wants.
No, I don't want something gross. Mine would be smoking. I know that smoking is a filthy habit. I know that most of the people I know don't smoke, and I feel I have to go outside. I have to. It's like
the leper colony.
Yeah, it's horrible.
So you want like an overt habit that is recognized by other people that I feel shame for, something like that?
I don't give a shit if you feel shame for it. I'm not shamed because I smoke. I just know it's a filthy habit.
Yeah.
But my point is that I could say, I just really don't put enough time in my own personal development. That's my bad habit. Oh, come on.
Matt, I think yours is crotch grabbing.
Well, like most of my habits are like that, though. Most of those are the personal development habits that I can think of. It's like I don't smoke, and I don't really drink that often, and I don't really pick my nose in public, and I don't really fart around people except for like family.
I know that habit you do, though.
Are people around you impacted by your procrastination?
Because things don't get done in the house, and it starts to feel like I'm creating a hoarding environment by letting things continue to go on. But see, for me, that's more of my problems, is they're more passive issues than active issues. So I'm not out spitting on people. I think probably my bigger habit is probably just being a smartass more than anything else. Being mean, I guess, would be the thing that would affect other people more than others. But you guys would know better than me.
Yeah, it's kind of a habit. I don't think you can stop yourself from saying
a lot of it's pretty unintentional. They come out.
I think we've talked about this, and that is itself a habit for sure.
Yes, yeah, and it's something that I continue to recognize, and I have to make a judgment after I say something too, and go, "Oh, did I say something mean? was that? Should I not have said that one?" I'm like, "Well, we'll see. I mean, they'll either say something about it or not, and we'll just."
Or they'll never talk to you again.
Right. There's always that possibility, but I'm used to that. I don't have any friends. So. That's
I have too many bad habits. This show would be 4 hours long. So, Brendan,
how about this one? How about
smoking?
Talking during movies in a movie theater for a bad habit? But I'm just saying that we're doing these bad habits. I'm just saying that is a habit that some people do. It's like it doesn't happen every time in the theaters, but it happens enough when we were still going to theaters before the virus hit, that you go, what the hell's wrong with people? Why are they talking during this? It's like they think it's their house or something.
Well, now we have new bad habits because of cell phones. Like, I was just talking about this the other day. Like, I have friends my age. They're not millennials. They're not like, they don't have the excuse that they grew up with this shit. And you'll be like having dinner with them, just you and them. And they'll be looking at Facebook, chuckling to themselves, ignoring you. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm sitting right here. You're ignoring me for your Facebook or your Tinder page or whatever. It's crazy.
But they're there chuckling to themselves?
Yeah, they wouldn't even share it with me. They would say,
don't light that cigarette, Greg. Do not light that cigarette. You just had one like a minute ago. You don't need to you don't need to suck another one down.
Well, I do.
You don't need to put the bad habits on display for the bad habit episode.
We're just pointing out bad habits. We're not trying to stop them on this episode. That's too much to ask for.
But despite his chain smoking, because I mean, I smoke. He's amazing. Maybe he's just chain smoke. Do you smoke this much all the time?
No, he doesn't.
No, but usually when I'm on the phone, I do chain smoke. Right? It's this thing.
So being on the phone is kind of a trigger.
Yeah, if I'm on a phone call, if I didn't have cigarettes, I'd be just like,
yeah. When I get in my car, that's a trigger for me. Like, if I get in my car, I gotta light a cigarette.
Or waiting for the bus. If I had to wait for the bus, I'm just like, I don't even feel like a cigarette.
But I can imagine.
But I'm gonna smoke a cigarette because I have 5 minutes before the bus comes.
Yeah, I get it.
But back in the day when I rode a bus and I smoked, it was almost a sure sign that the bus would be coming up soon if I finally lit a cigarette.
Yes, because
that's when the bus would usually show up. I'd have to put it out. I'm like, that's not okay. So, all right, so let's do another bad habit. How about public displays of affection by people?
I never cared about that.
You don't care?
God bless people if they can't even wait to go home and make out.
So you'd be okay with them just having sex right in front of you, really?
That's a little much.
Where's the line? Where's the line drawn? Where is it?
In my world, Matt, in my perfect world, that would be fine. If I was at a bar and two people wanted to fuck, I'm a hippie at heart, old flaming liberal.
Right.
Ideally, I really don't care. I'm not going to say, what assholes? I can't believe they're fucking in front of me. I'd be like, good for them.
Yeah. But does it depend upon how much clothing they're wearing or not? Would you be okay if they just took off all their clothes right in front of you?
That might be a bonus.
Say it like McDonald's or something.
I watch porn. There's a habit right there. A bad habit, maybe some people consider. And so it would be like, hey, free porn. I'm getting free porn right now. Live
3D,
sex show.
3D, right?
Yeah, live.
So there's no line in the sand for you there.
No, I'm saying, but I know people, like, if some teenage kids are making out on the bus, they're all just like, oh, that's terrible. I'm like, shut up. They're in love. You know.
I just don't like hearing fluids being put back in between people.
You can hear them. Slosh, slosh.
Well, it's like the talking with your mouth open. It's like having sex with your mouth open. It's smacking noises. It skeeves me out a little bit.
Public displays of affection are fine with me. I mean, you kind of took it to, fucking a McDonald's. That's unsanitary.
Yeah,
so that
right.
Gets the help.
Yeah, so there's like a line. It's like, where does that line get drawn?
Yeah, the line is naked body slapping flesh on a table in McDonald's. That's.
But if they're not naked, then it's okay? What are you talking about? I think the line is even before that.
Oh, so if he's just slipping his cock out of his jeans and kind of like dorking her in the back while they're waiting for their McNuggets? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm saying, is that your line? You said the line in the sand was with the people being naked at McDonald's. I would think the line would go back a lot farther.
I think it's when bodily fluids are exchanged. That's when it becomes unhealthy. When jism could get on your Big Mac. Or pussy juices could be on your fries.
I'm not going to be that close to them to get any of their. I mean, unless he's Superman, I'm not getting his jizz on my Big Mac.
Unless you're there trying to catch it with the bun opener.
But again, that goes into that goes into existing laws of public nudity and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, but that's laws. We're not talking about laws. We're just talking about things that are bad habits.
Okay, then I don't give a shit. They want to fucking McDonald's, fine. I'll just move to the other part of the McDonald's. But if they do it in the ball pit, that's where I draw the line. They can't fuck in the ball pit.
That's wrong. Yeah.
Right, because they get the balls stuck in their asses. All right, so what would be another bad habit? How about Facebook, Greg? You think Facebook addiction is a bad habit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, when people are ignoring me, my friends, I haven't seen them in a year. That's a bad habit. It's rude.
They're ignoring you for Facebook. In other words, they
Yeah,
won't visit
like
you
I was
because they
saying.
need to be on Facebook.
No, I'm saying like I'll go out to dinner with someone, and it's just them and me, and they'll just be. I want to chat with them, I haven't seen. Let's catch up, and they're looking at their Facebook, looking at their Tinder, all that shit. It's just incredibly
It's
rude.
a horrible habit. I deleted
Yeah.
Facebook off my phone last week.
Again?
Yep.
Oh wow! What made you decide to get off of Facebook?
There's nothing of any value to it. There's
Nothing.
absolutely no value to it at all for me.
Ah, okay.
I get some good links every now and then. Somebody will post some cool video, and I'm glad I saw it. But I'm not addicted to it. I can take it or leave it. Every now and then, maybe once a month, I'll get on Facebook because someone sent me a message saying you've got something on Facebook waiting for you.
Yeah. I
Sometimes
use it
they're
mainly
okay.
for like networking purposes because I just don't really like LinkedIn.
I'm more of a LinkedIn person
Yeah.
because that's kind of my wheelhouse.
Right.
Facebook, I'm not getting any business out of Facebook.
Well, I found out about a new kind of Facebook today. Somebody brought it up to me. It's something called FetLife, which is apparently Facebook for people with fetishes. So I thought I should let Greg know about that one.
That
I
could
don't
be
have
more
any
interesting
fetishes.
at least.
FetLife. You don't have a fetish, Greg.
My fetish is asexuality.
I found it so hard to believe.
No, I mean, I do have my
I can
fetishes.
imagine you in like a full rubber suit with a red rubber ball in your mouth. That's kind of like what I'm thinking.
Or a sexy men's habit.
How long have you been thinking about that, Matt?
About 3 seconds when I just made it up.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Sure, Matt. Okay. I know what to get you for Christmas.
You're
A little photo shoot.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I've never saw that Dom, up. And no, I get it. No, that's totally, it's fine.
That left a lot to interpretation, Brendan. I don't know what that was you just did, but it certainly, you didn't give an opinion, and yet you gave one at the same time.
Years of public relations.
Right. So one that's a serious bad habit for many of our youth are video games, where they've like taken over their lives and they're not actually doing anything with the exception of maybe working and then playing video games. I don't know if you guys have witnessed that occurring or not.
Is it a habit or just they really like? I mean, like I used to watch tons of movies when I was a kid. That's the new entertainment medium for kids. Video games have gotten pretty entertaining.
Yeah, but when does entertainment stop being entertainment? It becomes detrimental.
I guess if you're not doing anything else that you need to get done.
Yeah, well, you're like
Just like
not
drinking.
visiting other people. You're not socializing in any way. You're just basically at work and then home in front of a game and just playing the game until you're not getting enough sleep and you get to work late and that type of thing. I think that would be.
Well, that's like television, right?
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
I grew up
I
like
mean,
that
Sure,
with
which would
television.
also be a bad habit too, right?
Yeah.
I've got two boys, and they played video games, and they held jobs, and they came home, and they played video games. And if they didn't have video games, they would have been watching television, or they would have been doing something else. I think the point it becomes a bad habit is like anything. It's like, you can have a glass of wine with dinner or two, and you're fine. Or you can like be a freaking raging alcoholic. It's at the point it starts affecting your outside life, then it's a bad habit. Otherwise,
not getting
it's
your
just
shit
something
done.
else to do.
Right, there is where the infernal nature of it comes into play is the thing that takes, like you could do a little bit of heroin. Some people I'm sure could, like some people can just smoke a couple of cigarettes. But some people could do a little bit of heroin and not get addicted to it. They could do it, quote unquote, recreationally. Not have that addiction. That's a bad habit because it's against the law in that sense. But if you could get away with just doing small amounts of drugs here and there over the course of a year, not every day, is it a bad habit?
It is with heroin because most guys do get addicted. It's pretty rare. I've known a lot of people who've done heroin. I don't know many who've been like, oh yeah, I did it 3 or 4 times. It's pretty fun. They usually just become addicts. It's a dangerous drug.
The different drugs are. Greg's right. I mean, different drugs are different. I mean, crystal meth and heroin is not something you want to play around with, but.
Yeah.
But I don't know, mushrooms or weed or whatever, fine.
Yeah, I never heard of an LSD addict in my life. All the guys I knew took LSD. None of them were ever addicted to it.
Yeah, I don't think I ever heard of an LSD addict either. I think that was one.
No, I took a lot of it. I never became addicted.
Yeah, I think that just used up a lot of your time.
Yeah, but it was a good use of time. I love LSD. It was a great drug.
The thing about it is, if you're just looking at a dollars for product thing,
Oh yeah, quite
LSD
true.
is
Yeah.
really, really cheap for hours and hours and hours of altered states.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
not advocating
entertainment.
drugs, boys and girls. Just so you know, we're not.
Oh, I
advocating
am.
the use of
Try
drugs.
LSD, everyone. It's a wonderful, mind-expanding, consciousness
And make
expanding
sure you
drug.
drive a bus after you take it.
And go to a
If-
high
if-
building because you can fly. It's awesome.
If any of our listeners are planning on doing this, and I don't recommend it, but if they would, you need to have a buddy who's not on the drug with you at all times.
Mhm.
This is coming from wisdom of experience.
Right. If you don't have like good self-control about things, you should have a friend with. If you have general self-control, you can do it on your own and be okay.
I used to do it by myself a lot.
Yeah.
I'd take 4
Yeah.
hits. I'd trip hard. And just like my brain would just, oh man, it was so much fun. I'd understand the whole universe for 3 hours.
So what do you still take it, Greg?
No, it's just like I think you do run out of time in your life. Even though I don't have kids, I don't have family, I have a crappy job. It still seems like as you get older, you have less free time because that's a day. LSD, and maybe a day
That's
and a half.
2 days, really. The
Yeah, day
day
and a
where
half.
you're doing it, and the next day recuperating from it.
Exactly. So it's like I don't really seem to have, even though I don't do much in my life, it's just harder to do. But I probably would love to do it again if I was out of work or something.
What if you did that?
As soon as I get fired from my job, I'll start doing LSD again.
Do you think if you're on LSD and then you did heroin while you're on LSD, what kind of effect would it have on you?
I don't know. It would
I think it would be.
pretty
I think it would be a
nice.
huge buzzkill.
For one
Yeah,
of
probably would. Because drinking on LSD would kind of mute the effects. My friends would take LSD and then get drunk and it'd be like, dude, you're like killing half the buzz of the LSD. Like it deadens your brain.
Now, Greg, what you did? You did it, and then you drank orange juice.
Oh yeah, I used to do that.
Huh?
It would activate the LSD things or whatever.
Yeah.
the lysergic
Mm.
acids would get increased by the orange juice.
No, yeah, if you definitely, it
I
was
never
like,
heard this story before.
yeah, in the LSD world, if you were doing LSD, yeah, you didn't drink, you didn't smoke pot, you didn't do anything else, but you drank lots of orange juice. First of all, it helps because a lot of the LSD is cut with strychnine and other kind of toxic fucking chemicals.
Right.
So it kind of reduces a little bit of that bullshit, and you get thirsty. So rather than drinking beer, which is what some people do, if you drank orange juice, it did expand the overall effect of the drug.
I had a cousin, from mother's first cousin, who said he was a vegetarian because he got better highs from LSD, which I thought was an interesting reason to be a vegetarian.
I knew some kids, like they were teenagers at the time, and they'd always get the shitty LSD that I used to get in Tucson, tons of strychnine, so your teeth would be grinding.
Don't take the brown
Do you know
acid.
about that? Yeah, do you know about that? Like if it's bad acid with strychnine, it makes your
oh.
teeth grind. You're just like, ah. And so they finally got some good acid after years, and it didn't make their teeth grind because it was pure, and they felt ripped off. They were like, this isn't the right shit. How come our teeth aren't wanting to grind? They didn't know what good acid was supposed to feel like.
They couldn't tell from the other effects?
Well, I think they liked the other effects, but they also thought it was like, this isn't right. It's
It's part of the process. No, I stopped doing blotter acid at a certain point. It was just getting direct vials of
Oh my.
You got to be careful with that shit.
I would put it in my eye.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Does this explain some things now, Greg, about Brendan?
Yes. To this day, if I just take a little piece of paper, I don't know, every now and then, I don't know why, maybe I'm ripping out something, an envelope, and just having a piece of paper in my mouth for a second, that taste, it will give me a little flashback.
It reminds you of the day.
Yeah, it almost like when I grind my teeth.
Got a little cartoon character on a little square piece of paper.
Yep. I think I had Mr. Natural.
LSD talk.
Yeah, that's not a bad
Let's
habit.
talk
That's
about
a good
drugs.
habit.
Welcome to LSD, the podcast.
Welcome to Wavy Gravy and friends.
All right, how about not getting enough sleep? Would that be considered a bad habit? I mean, because that could affect you. If you make that happen on a regular basis and not getting enough sleep, it could definitely be bad. If it starts piling up after a while and you're groggy and it'd be dangerous to other people.
Is it a bad habit if you have insomnia? I mean, there are, issues that people have with, just getting 8 hours of sleep in a night.
Well, insomnia is a condition. That's different than a habit.
So what would constitute a habit in this
It's like
case?
deliberate, like staying up too late when you know you should be going to bed.
I feel like we're talking about your teenagers.
Yeah.
We've gone from video games to
I don't think you know what my
late.
sleep schedule is, Brandon.
Yeah, Matt just wants free counseling now, and he doesn't want to pay for a counselor, so he has us answer his questions about his teenagers.
I'm not talking about Greg. You know what my sleep schedule is like. I
Oh,
don't
I
have
know, it's
insomnia.
crazy.
I'm just up all freaking night. I stay up till 5 or 6 in the morning
I know,
for
but don't
no
you?
reason.
But when do
Are
you
you
sleep
sure,
till,
though?
Am I sure of what?
Are you sure there's no reason why you stay up all night?
Well, I know what the reasons are, but they're not good reasons.
Like what?
Because you want to finish a Netflix show
Or that, yeah, either binge watching something or playing video games on my phone or working on the podcast and editing it and just re-listening to things. You know, where I
But you
could,
get a
let me-
decent
so
I
let
could
me
finish
ask-
it off and go to bed and just do it the next day.
When do
Let
you
me
wake
ask-
up, though?
That varies. That varies from day to day.
I mean,
I
do you
wake
get
up whenever I
7
wake up.
hours sleep? Yeah, so like
It depends upon the day. Like last night, I got 4 hours of sleep.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah,
That's not-
I went to bed at 5 and I woke up at like 9.
You just have a different sleep schedule, though. I don't know if that's a bad habit. Some people like the nighttime. You know, they're night owls.
You know, I've always felt like I should have some kind of real schedule, and then I work. Then I get my own job, and which would keep me going until 3 o'clock in the morning anyway. So I got used to that schedule, but I'm not really
Mhm.
doing that now. So it's like I've been trying to readjust and go to bed when my wife goes to bed. But what happens is I'll go to bed when she goes to bed, but then I'll just stay up playing games on my phone. While
Right,
I'm
right.
just,
Well,
like
well,
in bed
let
with her.
me-
I'm like, oh, you know, I should put this away and just go to sleep, for crying out loud.
Right. Let me give you some perspective that may help.
I know.
Holly can go to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock, as we've seen, and she's one of these people that just hits the pillow and
Oh,
she's out.
I'm actually like that too. I can fall asleep pretty fast.
I'll see.
I don't have insomnia. No, I just stay up. I know. I stay up
Why-
past the time. There's a reason I got what I call the catapult chair at home, which is a chair that it basically raises to get you out of the chair. One of it's because I'm just really fat and it's hard on my knees to get out of a chair. But the other reason is sometimes I'd be staying downstairs far longer than I should, and I get to a point where I'm so tired, I'm too tired to get out of the chair, but not too tired to fall asleep in the chair. So if I keep my thumb still works on the button, it forces me to get out of the chair
I've been there.
and
I've been in
causes
that
me to
situation.
go to bed. So
There's
Okay,
a bar
well,
here.
I
You know
use
what?
that as like a bypass system to, my own thoughts.
All right. Well, you know what, Matt? That sounds like that might be a bad habit.
Yeah,
I
it's,
mean-
it's not every day, but it happens enough where I'm annoyed by it.
There's
I've
a
been
bar-
working on getting more sleep. That's a habit that I've been trying to change because just based on work, I stay up late because I kind of because I have to. I'm not watching Netflix, although I do that sometimes too. So what I've been doing is something called polyphasic sleep, where what I'll do is I get about 5 hours, maybe 6 hours of sleep during kind of the night. And then I'll take a good hour and a half nap at a certain point during the day. So I end up at around 7-8 hours of sleep, and I find that works for me.
Do that. I can't nap.
Because Matt is going on vacation again, you will be getting the second half of Client 14, Habits of Infernal Origin, from the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker next week, as there will not be a new episode. But we made this one specially long so we could give you 2 parts, and you get to wait all week to hear the next. It'll be loads and loads of fun. More bad habits, less nasal nuggets.
This has been the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker Computer Telecast, where any advice has been designed purely for amusement and deep-sea diving. Please take a candy on your way out, pet the lion tamer, and subscribe to this computer telecast if you know it's good for you. The law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker deny all culpability in today's events and are not to be confused with real law offices that have a secretary and books and stuff. Thank you all. Have a good day.